Okie dokie. Who are we going to do next? Taurus. It's your turn, Taurus. It is your January 2026 reading. We're going to use the Tattoo Tarot, Book of Answers, and the I Am Power Pack for an affirmation to your January 2026 reading. First, we're going to get some magnetic poetry to start for you. Everything you need to know is in the description box of the video, including how you can find out what your rising moon and Venus sign are. For Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus magnetic poetry message. If you didn't already know. Shit ton of, magnetic poetry. We'll get a message for, usually I do this at the end, but I'm going to do it at the front of the read. Okay. An S. Get out a pen and a piece of paper. Write down these words. You can unscramble them as you like. An R as well. Okay, here you have it. Write those words down. Can you see them all? Okay, write those down. And as I said, we're going to be using the Tattoo Tarot by 8 coins for you. Beautiful. Okay. So we'll get started. I'm doing, normally I would do like the 3 rows of past, present, future, except instead of the past, I'm doing what's hidden from your awareness for that row. I'm going to take the first jumpers to a maximum of 3 each time. This is a newer deck, so it's super thick, but it's also like really stiff still. So I can't bridge it just yet. Okay, the more we work it in. Okay, twist for fairness. 1 sec. Okie dokie. So let's get started. Past energy. Well, not past energy. What is hidden from your awareness during January? I wanted to say November. There's something from November that you could be pondering, or it could be hidden from your awareness during January, or that you're starting to realize during January. It's coming to the surface. Games for Days by Julian Plenty. That's Paul Banks. Paul Banks, I think he is a Taurus. He's from Interpol. Okay. Okay, so we have first the 3 cups. Yeah, it looks like the 3 cups to me. 3 cups in the reverse. A lack of celebration, or something that somebody is kind of, I keep on, like, so when I was looking at this as it was coming out, and I thought it was the 3 of Cups, but sometimes when I get the 3 of Cups, I think no need to celebrate, or why are you celebrating? Or this is not cause for celebration is kind of like the phrasing that I'm hearing. There's something that somebody is celebrating, or that you're celebrating, that you shouldn't be. It's no cause for celebration. With that, we have The Five of Pentacles, because there's a feeling of being left out, excluded. Okay, so there's no need to celebrate, or somebody shouldn't be celebrating, because while other people are celebrating something, somebody else feels left out or excluded in some way. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is the 6, a lack of balance. I was counting the pentacles instead of looking at the Roman numeral there, 6 of Pentacles. So there's no cause for celebration, or you shouldn't be celebrating, because there's a lack of balance and equilibrium. Somebody's feeling a little off in their energies, or somebody's giving more than they're receiving, more than likely in a monetary sense. Like somebody's giving and somebody's receiving. Do you see somebody? This is like literal. Somebody is weighing up pentacles and giving them to somebody else. So it's like, you know, you shouldn't be celebrating, or why are you celebrating? Or there is no celebration. Somebody didn't celebrate something because they gave pentacles to somebody else. What else? Okay. Yeah, they couldn't wait. An inability to be patient with something. It had to be done. They felt the obligation to move forward with it instead of holding back and seeing how things would pan out. They felt like they had to move on it. The Emperor in the reverse. They didn't feel like they could take the lead on it. Normally this is the leader with a firm hand, confident. Aries energy. In the reverse, that would be Libra energy. So it's more like the focus on the other instead of the self. Somebody is being selfless in doing this. They're not celebrating something because they've had to give pentacles to other people. They couldn't wait on it because they don't have... because they're not in charge. Because they're not in charge of how... like, they're not in charge of their pentacles as freely as they normally would be. Eight of Wands. There's communication that's happened, or there's a communication that they're aware that they're not as in charge of their pentacles as they would like to be, or communication about and not having the control or the leadership that they need to, or about a tyrannical father figure. Communication about a tyrannical father figure, so they can't wait on something. They have to give the pentacles when they have them, so they can't celebrate something for themselves because they have to give the pentacles while they have to somebody else while they have them. They've received news about a father figure, tyrannical father figure. And then the Ace of Cups in the reverse. That's an initiation, the beginning or the renewal of an emotional connection of some sort. The communication could be about the beginning of an emotional connection or about the renewal of an emotional connection. Coming from a tyrannical father figure or a leader or somebody who isn't a leader, or we'll find out more here in a second. In the present for you, Taurus, Sun, Moon, rising in Venus. Taurus, this is going to be a fast one. Seems rather straightforward. It's not a lot of interpretive energy on that. There's also something about impatience. Somebody is impatient and it seems rather tyrannical, volatile. The Hangman, there's a gaining of perspective that's happening in the present. or not necessarily the gaining of perspective, the need to put oneself in see something from a different angle. Piscean energy. The inability to celebrate something because pentacles were given to somebody else. Somebody in the present needs to put themselves into a different position to be able to see things from a different perspective. There's a shift in perspective is required. And that's why we see the Hanged Man is here. It's an artist who's kind of like doing the ropes and stuff like that. But they put themselves in a different position on purpose in order to see things from a different angle, to consider all the different angles and perspectives. Tell me more. The 12th, Christmas, 12th, Christmas. Okay. With that, we have the 6. It's a feeling of defeat. Somebody's feeling defeated once they put themselves into a different position to consider things from all different sides. A feeling of loss or defeat comes with this. Or it's almost as if somebody refuses to put themselves in somebody else's shoes, because that would mean that they would somehow feel as if they've lost a battle, which can't be the case. You know, when we put ourselves into other people's shoes or consider things from all different perspectives, that's actually winning as opposed to losing. It shouldn't be a defeatist attitude that you take when you choose to do this. This is volunteer. This is a voluntary stance that people take, and it's proactive to do. But the feeling of defeat, there's a feeling of defeat that somebody has when they have to relinquish their pentacles to somebody else. It's like obligatory, and it feels imbalanced. There's a need for balance. That's hidden energy there. Somebody is giving the pentacles, but there's a need for balance because there's a lot of receiving and a lot of somebody giving them, but not a lot of reciprocal energy. It seems as if it's sacrifice. And there's a sense of losing or, you know, missing out that's associated with that. An impatience. Somebody's impatient to receive these from somebody else consistently. Somebody takes, thank you. Somebody takes a loss in the present because they're doing this for somebody else. Because they're giving to somebody else, they take losses. And they're experiencing the loss in the present because of that. Because they gave to somebody else. King of Pentacles, Taurus energy, that's you. A Taurus individual has a firm foundation, is able to provide a hearth and home, a stable home environment, but the warmth in the home environment, typically in its positive aspects. There's an impatience to bounce back and provide that, even though the balance seems to be shifted towards one person giving and another person kind of just always with their hands out. And the feeling of defeat is here. So this person's kind of leaning into their stability and their foundations. Trying to move away from a volatile, self-absorbed energy of the Emperor. Trying to feel as if they're a provider. That's the thing that kind of helps them feel better and bounce back from the feeling of defeat associated with that. Tell us more in the present for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. 1, 2, 3. So there's a 10 of cups here. Yeah. Trying to provide somebody with a happy home life or the deep emotional fulfillment. Trying to lean into their ability to provide stability and reliability in that sense. It's like a compensation. Compensation, I'm hearing. Overcompensation. And there's that lack of equilibrium again here. A lack of equilibrium with the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Libra energy. But because it's the Queen of Swords in the reverse, there's a lack of equilibrium, a lack of balance, a lack of fairness, and impartiality. And the communications that are hidden from awareness, this trickles down into the present where the communications are imbalanced. There's a lack of fairness and equilibrium, oftentimes a lack of truth in the present as well. Virgo energy and Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. Things have reached a stalemate because of that in the present. Like the stagnancy is associated with this Queen of Swords in the reverse. See here. And Queen of Swords in the reverse is the lack of equilibrium, the lack of fairness and justice and balance in dealings with somebody, and it is also the shift in focuses towards selfishness as opposed to so you know, Aries is the focus on the self and Libra is the focus on the other, and having the Libra on its head shifts us more towards Aries, which is the focus on the self. So there's a little bit of self-absorbed nature to this as opposed to a balance. Like there needs to be a balance in between focus on others and focus on self. And with this, we've kind of reached a stalemate. Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the deck. It's about slow, methodical, strategic action that is correct because it's been analyzed, and there's careful forethought that goes into the forward momentum. However, what we see here is because there is a lack of equilibrium, fairness, justice, balance, and truth, and an imbalance in between the focus on the self and the other, this is grinding to a halt. Where there should be renewal and emotional connections and in communication, it seems there's a grinding of a halt, a stalemate, a stagnancy in this. So while there's this reliability and the ability to provide and those firm foundations and somebody trying to forego the feeling of defeat and trying to put themselves in the shoes of others or try to gain perspective in some manner. They're trying to, you know, justify, or not justify, but overcome the feeling of defeat by providing stability in the home space, you know, a reliability when it comes to providing. When somebody is looking for those pentacles, they're there to provide the pentacles. Like there's the charity and the charitable, that kind of thing that we see here. And this is also a Libra card, by the way, the focus on the other instead of the self. And they've, like I was saying before, they've sacrificed the ability to celebrate. This is, you know, normally this would be a party or a celebration, bright days. But this is not happening because somebody had to, you know, focus on the other instead of themselves and provide to somebody who was waiting with their hand out impatiently. And they felt the impatience of the other bearing down on them. So this person has justified the feeling of defeat that results from that by you know, saying that they've provided, or they're there to as a reliable source of, you know, those 6 pentacles, And they hope that it provides that you know, emotional fulfillment in some way, and it provides them with emotional fulfillment, thus dispelling this feeling of defeat. But at the end of the day, in the present, there's still this lack of equilibrium, this feeling of injustice, the sense that, you know, things are off, that the give and take is not balanced in between two individuals, and that there's a lack of fairness, and that's kind of ground things to a halt. In the future for you, Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Star in the reverse. A loss of faith also could be emerging from healing energy, Aquarian energy, actually. So this, we could be seeing this as early as January 20th. But also a loss of hope or faith could be occurring. It could also, like I said, it could just simply be that somebody is experiencing a time where they're emerging from healing energy. They've taken some time to heal from something. Because they've gained perspective on a feeling of loss in some way. Tell me more. They're seeing things in a new light. Seeing things from a different angle. You know what? It's not about blind faith anymore. Who knows? Taurus. Page of Wands. Passionate communication, inspired communication, messages about ideas. Somebody's emerged from healing state with an idea that's, you know, kind of sparked something within them. They feel this is going to provide them with a sense of stability. They also think it's a rather clever idea. You can see there with the fox. They think it's a smart idea. Something that's wise. Or not wise, but they think they're being clever or sly, or there's something slick about it. They think that they've kind of done some mental gymnastics, and that this idea could, you know, come up off the ground for them and take off. But they feel they're being clever and doing it. It's the communication of the idea, though, after having either come out of healing or decided they're no longer going to rely on blind faith alone. You don't want to rely on blind faith alone any longer with that star in the reverse. Because it's not reliable to rely on blind faith alone. So we're trying to come up with a clever idea or something that something that's a passion project, or they're talking. This is communication, okay? So it's like trying to emerge from a loss or a feeling of defeat with a spark of a new idea. They're talking about this new idea. They're fired up. They're saying, isn't that clever? Or I have a clever idea. It's about something inspiring, or something that they're inspired by, or they're talking to somebody about what inspires them, or why a passion project is so inspiring for them. Could be you who's doing that. I almost feel like so something that somebody might even, because we have the King of Pentacles, they kind of got their back to this. This could be something that somebody is going to bring to you, and they think they're going to, it's like a scheme, like it's a clever scheme that they think they can get you on board with. Because you're somebody who's a little bit more stable, and they think if they can get your buy-in, that it might work out for them a little bit better. I think that you're, you know, once bitten, twice shy, because you're coming off the heels of a current energy that's rather, it's coming out of a defeated space in some way. What else? What else in the future for Taurus, January 2026? Okay, so we have 9 swords, wounded warrior energy. So yeah, you're a little worse for wear, like I was just saying. Coming out of a defeated energy, and you're going to be rather reticent to come on board with this clever idea that somebody's communicating to you, or this inspiration that they've, you know, that they're talking about to take up a passion project of sorts. You're defensive. You've kind of had it, or somebody else is doing this with you. You could be the one who's, you know, come up with some, you know, idea that you're really fired up about, that you're explaining to somebody, and somebody else is kind of, you know, worse for wear. They're defensive, but they also at the same time, look at this guy's had the crap kicked out of him. He's tired, he's wounded, he's got bandages all over him, like he's been beaten over the head with all 9 of those swords, you know, and he's done, you know. He doesn't have much faith in himself, much less others, and you're coming to him like, hey, check out this sweet idea I got that I'm super fired up about. And this guy's like, yeah, that sounds great, but you know, all I own are these sticks, so you might need to go it alone on an idea if it's yours. This person's been the one who was reliable and provided stable thought and stable, like a stable sounding board in the past. Well, they're defeated. They're in a space of, you know, like, you know, they've been wrung out a few too many times, looks like. What else? They got their own shit going on. Tell me more. Tell me more. What else? Okay. Lovers, Gemini energy. So again, this is a choice between oneself or somebody else in a romantic sense. This could be during Gemini season even. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is about somebody choosing not to engage you in discussion about your ideas or your clever idea that you're fired up about, or about a passion project that you want to talk about. But this person is kind of in a place of defensiveness and exhaustion, to the point where they're not even engaging in the energy of the lovers, it seems. It's like they've got the happy home life and the zenith of emotional fulfillment in front of them as well, but they're not engaging in that either. They have a lot of joy that's available to them, and they should be engaging in the energy of somebody who's abundant. But like I said, this guy has had the crap kicked out of him. He's all bandaged up and stuff. He's tired. Whoever that is. There's also a sense that there has been a lack of equilibrium and fairness in affairs of the heart, either for you or for this person. And that's why they're not so gung-ho to kind of like buy in and be super enthusiastic alongside you, or invest mentally in whatever it is that you're saying back here. I'm almost certain that it's you who's sharing whatever idea. Yeah. Well, you're not lying to yourself about this. Okay, so maybe this is somebody who you're trying to have a romantic connection with. You're not lying to yourself about the fact that this person is sitting in like a lackadaisical, unenthusiastic energy. This person potentially could be somebody that you're in a romantic connection with. Look at this person is probably in a romantic connection with you, and you're being honest with yourself. See, this is normally self-deception. This is normally lying to yourself. The five of swords in the upright would be a self-deception. This is coming out of self-deception, being honest with oneself about your romantic connections, and if somebody is choosing you, will choose you, or even if they have the ability to choose anyone. Because look at this dude, he's tired, he's done for the moment. He needs to take 5, right? He needs to take a minute to heal himself, and, you know, potentially end some things that he's burdened by, because he doesn't have the ability to choose any emotional connection. He's kind of looking forward to these things. You can see by the look on his face that he's looking up, he's looking forward, but he's not in a space. It's like, you know, when people are depressed and they have a total lack of interest in things that they even love to do, you know, he's not even in the headspace to be able to enjoy things for himself, never mind, you know, be happy for or enthusiastic for the things that other people want to undertake. And I think you're being honest with yourself when it comes to that. It's also a time in the future where you're going to kind of be more clear. You're going to gain clarity for yourself about where there's a lack of equilibrium and fairness for yourself in romantic connections. Where there is a little bit too much, one person's investing all the energy and the other person's kind of just basking in it, enjoying all of the glory, enjoying all of the spoils, while somebody else is just giving, you know. It seems as if this is about ideas and about communicating those ideas and about somebody receiving coin, like literally receiving coin, because somebody had to forego what's up here in this top line. They had to forego celebration of some sort for themselves because they gave coin, because they were making sure that somebody else who was waiting to receive coin was provided for or given something that they could not wait to receive. Lastly, for you, Taurus, it's all about coin and wands here. I mean, we do have the 10 of Cups and the Lovers, but it seems like somebody else is overburdened here with the coin thing. And Queen of Pentacles in the upright. Yeah, there's coin things here. So there's a stalemate that has happened. You've reached an impasse because of a lack of equilibrium, fairness, justice, and balance, with a Queen of Pentacles sitting in their right power Capricorn energy. This is an individual who is ambitious, determined, passionate, somebody who invests a great deal of their energy into their career, but also providing a comfortable home space. The Pentacle for them is about much more than material possessions. It's also about more than money, because they invest their time, energy, and efforts into that pentacle in order to provide it to other people. And time is a currency you can't get a refund on. So when this individual provides the coin to other people, they're giving somebody time that they can't get back. They're giving somebody energy that they can't give back, and effort that they can't regain. So it's almost as if there's an impasse that's been reached here. There's no forward movement, and there's no longer any self-deception about this individual in the future. Bottom of the deck, we have the Eight of Pentacles, work. Apprenticeship energy, mastering a skill, honing one's craft to become better at something. But this is also about hard work in and of itself. Here we were just talking about the energy, effort, the time that is required in order to make the coin. We're not talking literal sense of see how this person's carving the coin. We're talking about the fact that it takes somebody all of that time, energy, and effort in order to produce a tangible result. And all of those three aspects of energy that are, expended in order to provide a tangible result, those are all things that they're irrevocably lost once somebody has expelled them. So the lesson here could very well be about, like, the overall lesson in January could very well be about the respect for a hard-earned dollar, the respect for honing one's craft, apprenticing, being the master who takes on an apprentice in order to achieve something or to become more adept at a skill. But I think the bigger thing here is to respect the time that is required to earn the coin, the time that is required to master a skill, but also the energy and the effort that it requires, and how those things are irrevocably lost, so that it's not just like, these 6 coins took, it's like I'm hearing somebody say it's just XYZ dollars to you, but it took me XYZ hours and I wasn't feeling well and XYZ blah 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 in order for you to get all of these coins from me. Like, these are just whatever to you, but it took all of this that I can't get back for you to have them. And so that's an overall overarching message for you. Let's look at the Book of Answers for you. So come up with a question, and we'll see if we can't get you something from the Book of Answers here, Taurus. Okay, finish something else first. You might, this idea that you're coming up with in the future, that might actually be a part of the answer, is that you might have many irons in the fire. Just adding context to this, because I'm literally seeing it on the board and hearing it. You might have a lot of different irons in the fire, and as a result, you might be just somebody who's really great at coming up with ideas, and you might not be somebody who's really great at finishing the things that you start. So this is saying to finish something else first before you start, coming up with your next big thing. All right, let's get your affirmation that's going to help you get through January in one piece, and then we'll be done. So Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, what is the affirmation that'll get you through January in one piece? Oh, that was a weird bridge. Okay, for Taurus, what's your affirmation? Oh, yeah. I'm beautiful. Okay. That's what we have for you. You know all the things to do if you know. So we'll see when we see you next. Have a great January, and thanks for watching. And there is your spread. Okie dokie. All right. Bye.